Real Estate Exam Questions with Answers and Explanations, Part Number 16. What is an alienation clause in a mortgage? A. It allows the borrower to rent out the property. B. It limits property improvements. C. It requires full loan repayment if the property is sold. D. It allows the loan to be assumed by a buyer. Correct answer, C. It requires full loan repayment if the property is sold. An alienation clause, also called a due-on-sale clause, forces the borrower to repay the mortgage when transferring property ownership. For example, the lender enforced the alienation clause when she sold the house, requiring the full balance to be paid. This means the seller had to satisfy the loan upon sale. What is the purpose of a title search in a real estate transaction? A. To set the property's price. B. To locate comparable sales. C. To identify issues with ownership or claims. D. To determine local tax rates. Correct answer, C. To identify issues with ownership or claims. A title search checks public records to confirm legal ownership and uncover liens, judgments, or defects. For example, the title search revealed an unpaid contractor's lien from 5 years ago. This means the property had unresolved legal issues to address before closing. What type of loan includes a single payment of both principal and interest at the end? A. Fully amortized loan. B. Adjustable rate mortgage. C. Balloon loan. D. Reverse mortgage. Correct answer, C. Balloon loan. A balloon loan requires small or interest-only payments for a period, followed by a large final payment of the remaining balance. For example, the buyer faced a $120,000 balloon payment after 5 years of low monthly payments. This means a large lump sum was due at the end of the term. What does statute of frauds require for certain real estate contracts? A. That they are recorded at the county office. B. That they be in writing to be legally enforceable. C. That both parties be represented by attorneys. D. That they include at least 3 witnesses. Correct answer, B. That they be in writing to be legally enforceable. The statute of frauds requires contracts involving real estate to be in writing to prevent fraud and ensure clarity. For example, their verbal agreement to sell the land was unenforceable due to the statute of frauds. This means written documentation was legally required. Which of the following items would typically be considered a fixture? A. A dining table. B. A potted plant. C. A built-in dishwasher. D. A floor rug. Correct answer, C. A built-in dishwasher. Fixtures are items permanently attached to the property and typically transfer with it during a sale. For example, the built-in appliances stayed with the house because they were considered fixtures. This means they were legally part of the property. What is the primary benefit of investing in real estate using leverage? A. Reduced property taxes. B. Avoiding title insurance. C. Using borrowed funds to increase potential return. D. Securing a guaranteed appreciation. Correct answer, C. Using borrowed funds to increase potential return. Leverage allows investors to control more valuable property with less personal capital, increasing ROI potential. For example, by using a mortgage, she leveraged $50,000 into a $300,000 investment property. This means she amplified her buying power using financing. What is the purpose of a lead-based paint disclosure? A. To notify the appraiser of upgrades. B. To comply with federal law for homes built before 1978. C. To adjust the property's assessed value. D. To provide renovation permits. Correct answer, B. To comply with federal law for homes built before 1978. Sellers and landlords must disclose known lead-based paint hazards in properties built before 1978 to protect health. For example, the seller provided a lead-based paint disclosure form before the buyer made an offer. This means the buyer was informed about any known risks, as required. Which of the following is not required for a valid deed? A. Signature of the grantee. B. Legal description of the property. C. Grantor's signature. D. Words of conveyance. Correct answer, A. Signature of the grantee. The grantee, buyer, does not need to sign the deed, only the grantor, seller, must sign it to make it valid. For example, the grantor signed the deed and delivered it, even though the buyer never signed it. This means the deed was still legally effective. What does the bundle of rights refer to in property ownership? A. Property zoning codes. B. A mortgage pre-approval process. C. Legal rights granted to owners, like use, lease, and sell. D. The steps to record a deed. Correct answer, C. Legal rights granted to owners, like use, lease, and sell. The bundle of rights represents all the legal rights of property ownership: possess, control, enjoy, exclude, and dispose. For example, as the owner, she exercised her right to lease the property, part of the bundle of rights. This means she lawfully used her ownership authority. What is the difference between an appraiser and a real estate agent's CMA? A. An appraiser uses emotion, agents use logic. B. A CMA is legally binding, an appraisal is not. C. An appraisal is a licensed valuation, a CMA is an estimate for marketing. D. They are both interchangeable for loans. Correct answer, C. An appraisal is a licensed valuation, a CMA is an estimate for marketing. A licensed appraiser provides an objective valuation for lending, while a CMA is a sales tool used by agents. For example, the lender required a full appraisal, even though the agent provided a CMA. This means the bank needed a certified valuation for loan approval.